Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. Winter is on vacation, but not for long, as it will be coming back with a vengeance by the middle and late portion of February, and we'll be breaking down the details on what you can expect out your door later on in today's video. Let's look at our low temperatures as we always do here for this morning, and notice another day with mild temperatures starting across the middle of the country, in particular the Great Plains and the Midwest. Temperatures are into the 30s and 40s to start off the day this morning. A little bit colder across the Northeast, and that is due to our snowpack, especially for Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, and also upstate New York, where we have single digits and teens for morning lows to start off the day. So make sure, if you are in these areas, to bundle up here this morning if you are heading out the doors. But we are also keeping an eye on dense fog across the middle of the country as well. We do have dense fog advisories from the Dakotas down into northwestern Nebraska and also across portions of Wisconsin, eastern Iowa, into north central Illinois this morning. And looking at those visibilities as you are heading out the door, you can see these areas into southern and southeastern Wisconsin, far northern Illinois, those visibilities dropping under a half a mile in some instances. And then across the Dakotas, northwestern Nebraska, same deal here with a quarter to half mile visibility in a lot of these areas this morning. And notice, going into the afternoon, we're going to get rid of some of that dense fog across southern and southeastern Wisconsin and far northern Illinois, but we're going to hang on to some of that patchy dense fog across the Dakotas, especially into western and central North Dakota and northwestern South Dakota by the afternoon time frame. Now, if you like detailed weather breakdowns across North America, consider hitting the subscribe button down below. We'll keep you covered here throughout 2024 moving forward, and I would love to hit 100,000 subscribers by the springtime, and you can help me get there simply by subscribing to the channel down below. Also, make sure to press the like button down below. It helps out more than you know. So let's zoom out the picture and show you what is happening today with our general weather pattern. And we have a high pressure system across eastern Canada and the Great Lakes region this morning. And what this means is drier weather and also warmer weather. We have record territory temperatures that we'll be talking about moving into late this week. But then look off to the west. We have that trough here that brought relentless rain to California. And in fact, looking at the Los Angeles region, Santa Barbara, Long Beach, and near the San Diego area, we saw some very healthy totals. In fact, a few areas picking up over a foot of rain over the past 3 days. This is the past 3 days precipitation in inches. And not only in this area, but most of the state of California got hard hit with either very heavy snow in the Sierras or very heavy coastal rains with that atmospheric river over the past several days. As we go into late this week on Friday, this is the 9th of February, that high pressure is going to be in firm control across eastern Canada and the eastern U.S., bringing record high temperatures and drier weather, more importantly. And that is something we'll see out east. Out west, that trough is going to continue to bring a conveyor belt of moisture up into the desert Southwest, the Rockies, and the Western Plains later this week. So let's look first at our temperature anomalies here, because we are entering into record territory, especially up here into the northern U.S. and southeastern Canada, in particular the northern plains, the upper Midwest, and the Great Lakes, and obviously up here into Ontario and Quebec, Canada, as we go through today. As we go into Thursday, same deal. Southeastern Canada, the Great Lakes, down through the Midwest. And then as we go into Friday, that just pushes a little bit further off to the east, with the most above average across southeastern Canada by the time we get to late week. But notice out west, it's below normal today, Thursday, and into your Friday here. And that is due to that precipitation, the cloud cover out there, and that trough bringing our temperatures below normal out west. Let's look at those temperatures and what they could look like over the next couple of days Notice this afternoon highs into the 40s for the most part across the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, and the Northeast, and much of the East Coast. In the middle of the country here, the Corn Belt, if you will, we have temperatures into the 50s all the way up into Des Moines, Omaha, into Lincoln, Nebraska, into the 60s down here in the southern plains, into the Dallas-Fort Worth area at 63, 62 in Shreveport, and 65 into Jackson, Mississippi this afternoon. Going into Thursday afternoon, this is tomorrow on February 8th, notice the 50s and the 60-degree line pushing further to the north. We're up to near 60 in Des Moines. We're at 59 as we go into Thursday, 58 in Cedar Rapids and Iowa City there, 49 on the lakefront there in Chicago, a little lake breeze kicking our temperatures back down into the upper 40s, and then near 60 again into the St. Louis region as we go into Thursday. Friday, we start to see that shift a little further east, but still record territory for the lakes area here into the Ohio Valley and the Mid-Atlantic as we go into later this week. Now let's look at the precipitation chances with the trough out west. Notice the high pressure system, as we mentioned, we're going to keep us drier across the east into southeastern Canada and the eastern third of the country through the next couple of days. But we look out west for a lot of that precipitation. The eastern Pacific Ocean is open for moisture, and that will be pushing into the Rockies, pushing into the Intermountain West. A lot of heavier snow out here from Montana, Idaho, down through Wyoming here into portions of Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico, and continuously seeing some rainfall and snowfall across northern and central California today. Going into tonight, we got a bit of a snowstorm up here across the northern Rockies through Montana, into southern portions of Saskatchewan, into southern Manitoba. We're definitely seeing some snow bands there as we go through tonight. Going into Thursday, that sticks around across those areas and enters into more of the Dakotas as we go into the day on Thursday. The warm sector of the storm will be across Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, and northern Illinois, and actually could be bringing a couple of thunderstorms across that region from Wisconsin, Iowa, into northern Illinois on Thursday. Then as we go into Friday, the cold air advection wraps around on the backside of this storm. We start to see that rain change over to snow, and a couple of inches are possible there for the Arrowhead of Minnesota and the eastern Dakotas as we go into Friday time frame. Now look here at the total precipitation in inches now through Friday night. This takes us through February 9th. Look at the corridor here of precipitation from southern Canada down through the northern high plains into the Rockies and the desert southwest. Yes, we're still seeing precipitation back here into California, even with those saturated soils. And a lot of this will actually be in the form of snowfall as we have the cold air advection coming down from Canada from northwest to southeast into the United States. We have a decent swath of at least a few inches of snow, a plowable snow here for especially Manitoba, down through southern Saskatchewan and Canada, but also crossing over the international border into the United States. So the Dakotas, Montana, back into Wyoming and into portions of Idaho here, a few inches of snow, and then some decent snows for the Four Corners regions down here, and then also the Sierras into California, seeing several inches through Friday night. So if you are traveling out west or to the northwest here, just make sure you take it slow out on those roadways. We have anywhere from minor to major travel disruptions with this system here, especially into the Four Corners regions, into those higher elevations with the heavier snow. So just make sure you are taking it slow out on those roadways going in towards the weekend. Now let's look here at our teleconnections long term in towards the middle and end of February. This is what we call the PNA, the Pacific North American pattern. And you can see right now it is actually positive or near neutral right now. Notice it's going to remain kind of teeter-tottering over that zero mark, the neutral category, and then we move positive towards the middle and end of February here. And that is actually important because our AO is actually negative and will remain negative here and possibly go even further negative as we go into that second and third weekend of February. And our NAO, the North Atlantic Oscillation, is also negative and will remain negative during this time frame. So let's look at it here on the maps and explain what this is. As we go into the weekend on Saturday the 10th and Sunday the 11th of February, here is that ridge of high pressure across eastern Canada and the eastern United States. There's that trough finally becoming more progressive and pushing from west to east into the plains and ejecting into the Mississippi Valley this weekend. That will bring a storm system across the southern United States during this period. But as we go into next week, the Monday the 12th through Friday the 16th of February, there's that positive P&A here. We have that spike of high pressure all the way up into Alaska, into the western Canadian provinces of British Columbia and thereabouts, and then also the Pacific Northwest, seeing above normal heights here, which indicates high pressure. There's that negative AO, that Arctic oscillation with that blue line. You can see the cold air advection moving down from Canada here, central Canada, down into southeastern Canada and the upper Great Lakes region, and there's that negative NAO. You can see that across the North Atlantic. That's the negative NAO, the North Atlantic oscillation with those blues here with the low pressure just to the south and east of Greenland next week. And it's important for our storm track, but also our temperatures. As we go into the weekend, above normal record temperatures again for southeastern Canada and parts of the Northeast. There's the trough out west that's going to begin to eject further east, initially below normal temperatures, really centered across Nevada, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and Colorado. But as we go into next week, that cold air out west will start to bleed east, and especially across the southern and southeastern tier of the United States going through the 16th of February. And then we have a storm system. So we have a storm system moving in with the cold air as we go into the weekend, and this is your 500 millibar vorticity, and this basically just shows the spin in the atmosphere, or the lift in the atmosphere, if you will. And you can see there's all that spin, there's all that lift across the Four Corners region and West Texas Saturday into Sunday, and then that will shift across the deep south into the southeast and eventually up the east coast as we go into next week, especially early next week on Monday into Tuesday time frame there. And let's look at this here with the precipitation. So here's the European model, one of the main more reliable models we look at here for the weekend. It paints a picture of some snow across Amarillo, back toward Albuquerque there into New Mexico, all rain, a few thunderstorms across North Texas there, and getting into central Texas and across the southeast. At this current time, we are not looking at any severe weather as we go into the weekend, but early next week, the European model is showing a decent snowstorm here for the Appalachians, over here into West Virginia, up into the Poconos, perhaps into Pennsylvania, and then up the I-95 corridor, Boston to Hartford, down through New York City there, very close to that rain-snow line, but perhaps a decent snowstorm on the European model. Now looking at the GFS model, back to the weekend we go, still those rain and thunderstorms for the deep south and the southeast. There's the snow, again, very close with the European model, showing it around the Amarillo region. Not much though for New Mexico on this model. And then as we go in towards early next week, Monday, Tuesday time frame, it has a little bit of snow for the I-95 corridor, Boston to Hartford, maybe into New York City and Long Island there, but a more progressive and weaker system overall and further off the coast on the GFS model. So looking at the snowfall with these two models, the European model showing a nice narrow swath of snow from southeastern New Mexico through portions of the Texas Panhandle and northwest Texas, through Oklahoma here into southern Missouri, northern Arkansas, through the lower Ohio River Valley, and then through the I-95 corridor into coastal New England and the Northeast. Compare that with the GFS model, not as bullish with the amounts, but a decent amount of congruency with the models to say, okay, we have a storm coming and it could be producing some snowfall here from the I-95 corridor back through the Ohio River Valley, maybe the Tennessee River Valley, and then into the southern plains here. So we'll keep an eye on it as we do get closer. Beyond that time frame, as we get toward late February, we're talking Monday the 19th through the following Monday the 26th, winter is going to stick around. We have high pressure ridge up here all the way up into Greenland, okay? and into the northeastern Canadian provinces, and this is going to force that storm track further south as we go later into February across the southern tier of the United States. Colder anomalies down here, and you can see that with our temperatures during that time frame, the 19th through the 26th. A lot of the lower 48 outside of the upper Midwest will be below normal with our temperatures, and don't let the upper Midwest with these oranges fool you. Above normal temperatures, even late February, could still be into the 30s and 40s, so don't let that fool you out here. Still will be chilly as well. And looking at the precipitation, you can see generally the signal is out west again. And yes, unfortunately, California getting hit hard again late month, and then across the Four Corners region, the southern U.S., and then up the East Coast during this period. And a lot of this will be falling as snow as the colder air moves south. The moisture is in play. Very heavy snows here for the mountains into the Washington State region, Oregon, the mountains there, the Rockies into portions of the west, and then the Sierras into California, and then that will move east. We could have a snow track from the Midwest through the Great Lakes there into the Ohio Valley and interior New England especially, as we go into late February, and that will only set us up better for early March as that snow line will continue to move further south towards that time frame. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure if you are new to the channel, to consider subscribing to the channel down below for detailed weather breakdowns throughout 2024. We'll keep you covered here with accurate weather forecasts moving forward. Be sure to press the like button down below, everyone. Also share this video with friends, family, and on social media, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Wednesday out there.